Good evening or good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another live chat with James here at the studios in Vancouver, British Columbia. It is now 11:54 p.m. as we are rolling into what will be a beautiful Tuesday in Metro Vancouver as the weather continues to cooperate. The weather is expected to be warm and beautiful once again Tuesday and Wednesday, but Thursday we're looking at storms moving in and cooler temperatures making their way. We'll keep an eye on that, but in the meantime, it should also be noted that our weather reports have also included air advisories as there are several wildfires still burning throughout the province of British Columbia. With that, of course, the wind will be bringing more of the particulates and smoke into the lower mainland region and causing concerns for those with lung conditions or other compromised breathing issues. So again, use caution if you're outdoors and breathing in any of the fire smoke. It is bringing that smog layer into the air, but again, it's not too bad at this point, but enough that it could have implications on those with already compromised respiratory systems. So again, use caution out there, folks, but also get out and enjoy that sunshine if you can. It is a very beautiful spring, and again, it has been above normal temperatures in April, and that, of course, as I said, has led to wildfires. If you are out enjoying nature and the beauty of the weather, please use caution. Use extreme caution when in the backcountry and up in the mountains or out in nature. We don't want to see unnecessary wildfires continuing to be lit this year. We hope that people will learn and start using their fire smarts and reduce the number of wildfires this year. It is not only costly in terms of the monetary damage that has been caused, but also in terms of the impacts on communities, housing, and just everyday lives of people. And we've seen that in the past, even going back a few years when we saw the entire town of Lytton destroyed in a matter of 24 to 48 hours. So again, please be fire smart out there. Once again, Donald Trump is floundering like a half-dead fish on the shores of a Chernobyl lake. It is just another day of tariffs that were announced on the weekend. 100% tariffs on foreign-produced productions, whether that's film or television. Nobody really knows. It's up to Trump. Is that going to impact tariffs that are based on the production cost of it? Or is it going to be on the box office draw? Or is it going to hit streaming services? We just don't know. There's a lot of chaos there. This has, of course, created a lot of dialogue within the film industry around the world, both in Canada, in New Zealand, Australia, the UK, and elsewhere when it comes to the United States trying to impose more tariffs. Now, Donald Trump, of course, we already know, doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground, and he just wakes up and spins a wheel that may be run by Vanna White, who knows. But yeah, he just spins that wheel every day and decides what industries are getting tariffs at what levels, and really even he, I don't think, understands what tariffs are all about and what ones are coming, which are going, and which ones just don't even make sense from his deluded mind. But again, we'll have to watch how that plays out. Speaking of the entertainment industry, we will have a bit shorter of a show tonight. As I said, it is now 11:58 p.m. in Vancouver. I am due on a film set at 5 a.m. on the other end of the city, so I've got to be up at 3 a.m. So again, we'll be keeping this show a little shorter than usual tonight. Now, if you are working within the film industry, you know that there's already been a very slow start to the year. This year has seen a major dramatic drop in the number of productions and the amount of money being spent in the production industry, as well as the spin-off economy. We hope to see that there will be an increase, and there was a positive outlook for some level of increase of production numbers coming into the summer. But again, with these tariffs, now that just throws that into more chaos. So just hang in there, folks. Hopefully we see a recovery of the industry sooner than later. And personally, I've previously predicted on the show that we are going to see chaos in the industry for another year and possibly up to 2 years before we see a full recovery of the industry in Vancouver, but also in Ontario and other areas of the country. This is, of course, an opportunity, though, for a lot more production to be made in the domestic end, creating a lot more cultural programming within Canada or in other domestic markets in Australia or in New Zealand. So we need to be really opportunistic when it comes to what could happen, because let's face it, if Trump does proceed with these tariffs on the film industry, it could raise the production costs over 100%, and that is going to have a dramatic effect on any productions outside of the United States. Now, if Trump believes that it is not going to impact the industry in the United States, of course it will. You have foreign investors that invest in productions that are produced within the borders or context of the United States film industry. And when people are looking at investments, it is a challenge enough for the film and television industry, given the risk levels, to bring in that international attraction when it comes to investing in productions. With a very precarious economic situation and unpredictability that Donald Trump has instituted and brought into all different industries and sectors, again, you're going to see people are going to become more risk adverse when it comes to producing new content. And that should be a major concern for Donald Trump as well, that these tariffs could actually really blow up in his face and create a decline of an industry that's already struggling. Now, apparently, Governor Newsom of California has reached out to Donald Trump and the federal government to look at helping the industry with subsidies and tax credits to be increased in order to re-attract a lot of the production investment in the state of California. And I would assume that if that happens, you'll also see following suit, you'll see New York and Georgia, and at some level, although not as heavily based as a film and production hub, you'll see Florida as well lining up for financial assistance, which Donald Trump doesn't seem to like because of the fact that he has this hate on for the California industry. So we'll see how that plays out, and we'll be following this story closely. Once again, if you're in the film and television industry, please leave comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think is the future of the industry and how this is going to play out. So again, please feel free, no matter where you are in the world, if you are involved in the film and television industry, or if you're just a fan of, The Last of Us or, new movies and such, by all means, leave your comments as well, because this is a show about sharing and communicating and having open discussions. Now let's take a look at other news that's happening in Metro Vancouver this past weekend. The amazing international attraction of the BMO Vancouver Marathon took place with a record-breaking 25,000 runners. And that is amazing because people from over 60 countries participated in this weekend's BMO Vancouver Marathon. It caused quite the chaos in the city when it came to traffic closures and getting around, but again, well worth it for those 25,000 participants. Congratulations to all of them who took part. Whether you finished the marathon or not, congratulations for taking part in it. When it came to the security issues, of course, that was top of mind of everyone at the Vancouver Marathon, given the recent events that happened at the Lapu Festival. Once again, they are continuing to update the information on that, but we've been taking a break from covering it just for the simple fact that we want to offer a bit of a reprieve on the information, but we will give an update later this week as to where things stand from the justice system, the criminal system, and of course update you on the survivors and other events surrounding the Lapu Day tragedy. We should also reach out and say thank you to those around the world who sent their messages of sympathy, support, and condolence. And again, messages flooded in to the people of Vancouver, especially the Filipino community within Vancouver. So again, thank you to everyone who has been offering their kind words of support. There are many different fundraising programs going on to help the victims individually on GoFundMe, as well as others. Once again, if you're looking for legitimate sites to donate to, the Georgia Straight newspaper is available at straight.com, I believe it is. And but the Georgia Straight, they have a list of verified GoFundMe campaigns and such, so you know that you are sending your money to those in need. So again, that's at straight.com. When it comes to other issues, of course, we know that it is still an amazing week in Canada of the election, and we could say celebration for some and the election hangover for others, as Pierre Poilievre continues to fight to maintain his position as the leader of the Conservative Party. He has found an MP in Alberta who's going to step aside and allow Pierre Poilievre to partake in the by-election. And of course, it is a very heavy Conservative community and almost a guaranteed win for Pierre Poilievre. If he does lose in that running, I will be here just laughing my ass off. But in any event, we'll see how that plays. When it comes to the Liberal Party and Mark Carney, he has said that he will not form an alliance with the NDP, as he has been given a mandate to follow, and they have their policies within the Liberal Party that they want to achieve. So we'll see how that plays out. But given that, with the directive he really campaigned heavy on was the tariffs coming in from the United States, as well as Donald Trump's ongoing rhetoric about Canada becoming the first 51st state, which will never happen. Not as Trudeau said, not a snowball's chance in hell of Canada becoming a 51st state. But with that said, Mark Carney is traveling this week to Washington to meet with Donald Trump, and we'll see how that plays out and what comes out of it. Will we see another back down of Trump and his tariffs, or are we going to see him step up his rhetoric in terms of standing against Mark Carney? If Mark Carney really goes tough with him, we'll again watch how that plays out. Now, in a recent interview, of course, Donald Trump continues his rhetoric of not only Canada becoming the first 51st state. He did, however, rule out any military action to do so. We do know that through his past statements, he has actually claimed that he wants to annex Canada and make us the 51st state, not through military action, by economic action. And he thinks that he can crush the Canadian economy and force us into submission. And if that is his real honest thoughts, then he obviously does not know Canada or Canadians very well. We will not ever bow to the dictator Trump, and that is the way it is. Now, following that up, of course, he has also made other statements, including that of Greenland, where he has not ruled out military action to take over Greenland. He goes on about talking that they will treat them with such respect and they will cherish the people of Greenland. But let's face it, he cannot even hold up his own bargains and his own commitments to his own staff, his own supporters, and those who got him into office. So again, anything that he says is not worth the shit that it drains out of his mouth, and any agreements are not worth the paper they're written on. We know that by previously negotiated trade agreements that Donald Trump negotiated, and of course now is reneging on, saying that the worst trade agreements in history, and yet it was his dumbass that was the one who was behind the negotiations of things such as the North America agreement featuring Canada, US, and Mexico. Now, as we move forward, we know that we will have to keep a close eye on that orange baboon down south of the border. But again, Canadians are not going to take his bullshit, and we will not, definitely will not stand for his ongoing threat of annexing Canada. With that said, the head of the organization Amnesty International is traveling to Ottawa in hopes of having a meeting with Mark Carney at some point over the next week to discuss the human rights abuses and human rights violations that are taking place south of the border at the hands of the Trump administration. Amnesty International is calling on Canada and our government to stand firm on those human rights issues as we have on the annexation, and of course as we have stood up to Donald Trump and his administration when it came to the tariffs. That's what Amnesty International is hoping to see Canada do, and that is take a very firm stance on the ongoing human rights abuses that are going on south of the border. Now, let's take a look at other international stories right now. The UN Security Council has held a behind the closed-door meetings, and that was at the behest or the request of Islamabad, trying to find different options and opportunities to resolve the issues, or at least to bring down the rhetoric and the tensions between India and Pakistan. Pakistan and India right now are looking at a potential uproar and even something that could lead to a war. So hopefully it won't escalate to that point. Hopefully they can find diplomatic ways to find their way past these tensions that are currently happening. Now, of course, we know that there were recent terror attacks in India that claimed the lives of 26 people and injured many others. Although it is claimed that there is a group in Pakistan that claimed responsibility for that attack, it could also be a false flag by the India government, the BJP, the RSS, or RAW agency. So again, we need to watch it very closely and see how it plays out. We will keep you up to date on any important updates when it comes to the tensions between India and Pakistan. But again, that is a very important point for geopolitics and the stability within that region. As I said, we looked at the chaos of Donald Trump's, ongoing on again, off again, just constant philandering on the different trade barriers and trade tariffs. He is really showing once again in his recent interview that was aired over the last weekend that he doesn't understand what tariffs are and how they work. He is still going on about how it is Joe Biden's economy when it is looking at the failing sectors. And of course, anything that comes out as positive is not only claimed by him to be a result of Trump policies, but also anything that comes out as a positive spin on policy and the economy is usually bullshit coming out of Donald Trump's mouth, or as I call her, bargain basement Barbie, his press secretary. Now, we also need to realize that Donald Trump continues to play the victim and claim that the world has been abused by all these countries on and on and on. He just keeps claiming the victim card, and that is not the case. He also claims that the media, the mainstream media, just keeps attacking him and his policies because of other reasons of outside of reality. And in fact, he just does not want to accept that he is screwing the American people and the American economy. He was handed a very, very stable economy and an economy that was envious of leaders and others around the world, that within just over 100 days, he has completely flushed it down the toilet. When we also take a look at his other statements that he made, he just likes to go on and on about, about the fact that Mr. Trump continues to say that sourcing out the legal system in terms of incarceration is fine. He also goes on to continue arguing about having the due process for people being deported. And again, it just shows his lack of respect for the U.S. Constitution and lack of respect for any other nation around the world. When we take a look at the at other current stories, of course, we know that we'll flip back to the tariffs there, and that is people within his own government don't even know what the hell he's talking about when it comes to the film industry tariffs that he's threatened, and that could have a major impact. And let's just look at foreign location and service productions. That's a $4.73 billion industry in British Columbia and Canada. Ontario's Minister of Economic Development has vowed to fight the tariffs in Washington, highlighting the cross-border implications. And I don't think that Donald Trump really understands how integrated the Canadian and U.S. film industry is, and television productions either. So again, we'll have to see if somebody can get out the crayons and try to draw him a picture that explains it in a way that he can understand. In another significant Canadian story, the Canada Post Corporation is looking at another potential strike. If that happens, of course, it could happen as early as next week. We'll have to watch and see how this plays out. But once again, we see that the union has reported that negotiations have stalled, and that could disrupt mail and package delivery across Canada and going out from Canada around the world. Also, of course, inbound. Now, this is going to have a major impact on businesses and residents, and the development adds to economic concerns that we're already experiencing in Canada, especially in light of these trade tensions that we keep discussing. Now, when we look at different other international news, Mexico is facing its own challenges with potential trade impacts from the U.S. policies, but specific details just are not fully available right now, as there seems to be a new rift forming with the public acknowledgement that Trump is still wanting to send troops and do drone attacks in Mexico against cartels. And Claudia Sheinbaum has very clearly stated that they will work with the U.S., but the U.S. can mind its own territory while Mexico cares for theirs. They are not going to allow the U.S. to infiltrate or to infringe upon their sovereignty and to act on the Mexican soil. Once again, we're also seeing different issues that are impacting the Middle East. There is still instability there, and now we see that Israel is looking to basically take over the entire Gaza, the whole Gaza Strip. They want to force any residents to the southern part of the Gaza Strip so that they can take a very aggressive approach against any of the other Houthis or terrorists that they see in the northern part of the country. And I call it a country, but again, within Gaza. So there are a lot of tensions going on there. There's also a need to look at whether or not the U.S. is going to continue to pressure the international judges who are calling for the crimes and different arrest warrants coming out of the International Criminal Court. And that seems to be a part that Donald Trump and his administration, once again, when it comes to international affairs, are looking to do. When we take a look at other issues around the world, we will have further reports tomorrow night. As I said, tonight is a bit shorter of a program. So I appreciate you tuning in for this episode of Live Chat with James. I encourage you to leave your comments below on any of the stories that we talked about or on any other topic ideas that you would like to see added to the program. Again, this is James Cousineau coming to you from the ProPix TV studios in Vancouver, British Columbia. Have a great day, folks, and stay safe.